Oh no, what's going on?
Who is this?
Rob?
No.
Ross? I can't read. I only
Bob
have
Ross. You don't know who Bob Ross is?
Apparently he enjoys painting.
You're joking me.
No, who's Bob Ross?
Cynthia Yanof. What do I have to teach you about AI? I got to teach you about Bob Ross.
Should I Google it or is it like married sex and I shouldn't?
Do not Google. You can totally Google it. He is the calmest art teacher ever. He paints happy trees. He was on like PBS or national, public television teaching people how to paint. Bob Ross with the giant fro.
Oh, sorry. I think I dozed off.
Hey y'all, surprise, happy Friday. Just so you know, you are listening to the Don't Mom Alone podcast, and I am your host, Heather McFadden. I'm still here to connect you with people and resources so you know that you don't mom alone. And if you joined us during our Summer of Mentorship series, then you are familiar with my friend, Cynthia Yanof. She's the host of the Mesmerize podcast. And we had such a good time recording over the summer that we've decided to make this a monthly thing. So you will be hearing from us the first Friday of every month. And yes, I'm aware it is not the first Friday today, but it is the first Friday of school for my people. So there's that. But we're just here to share a bit of our life. Today we're talking about our summer updates. I will tell you that we recorded this before the devastation in Maui, and I do share about my story in Maui. And so at the end of the show, I'll share just a little bit more processing I've had to do since. And really, we're just covering expectations, y'all. And I know we carry a lot. Also letting go of maybe family traditions you've held for a long time. But let's get right to it. Here we go. I think that when I'm going to show you these Post-it notes with Bob Ross painting, you're going to be like, oh my gosh. And instead, who's that?
In full disclosure, I only have one eye.
And we're sitting in the dark and you have sunglasses on.
And I have sunglasses on. We're in the dark. I've had a procedure. Nobody needs to hear about it. But I only have one eye and an eye patch.
But
I can't see.
I really thought, okay, I'll give her that. Okay, so she just can't see. You said what? Jesus? You thought it was...
I said, is that Jesus healing a paralytic? I couldn't see. I don't know.
You know what? For a lot of people, Bob Ross is a Jesus figure. He's very calming. There was a season when I would turn it on for one of my boys. He would just sit there and watch it and it would calm him down. You need to try this for JB. I'm giving you parenting tips right now.
There's 1,000 parenting tips I could use, but I never saw it coming. It's Bob Ross.
It's Bob Ross. You remember when we got a caller this summer and she asked about helping her daughter with her eye patch. And you said, I've got nothing.
Okay, I did say that, and I want everyone to know that I even had a moment where I'm like, well, I mean, if trying to get your kid to wear an eye patch is like your hill to die, that's the hardest thing you're facing, then...
You kind of downplayed it.
Yeah,
like, not
I
a big deal.
downplayed it.
Yeah.
I have an eye patch on right now.
And you have empathy.
Oh my gosh. Like, call her. Call back.
Call her. She has advice. So if you've stuck with us, Cynthia, you've had a little trauma drama in the last week.
It's fine. I had a little something on my side of my face burned off. And unfortunately, that's all fine. But unfortunately, my whole eye is swollen shut. And my Don't Mom Alone friend over here, I happen to have an eye patch. I happen to have massive swelling. And I may or may not have been called a pirate or gotten
I just...
Ahoy, matey.
I said, Arr, is that the proper greeting? I didn't know. But hey, I'm a melanoma survivor. We're saying right now, go get your skin checked, moms.
Get your skin checked, everyone.
Put your mask on first is the airplane advice. So take care of your bodies so you can take care of your kids. Because you got to now take your daughter to college and you've got an eye patch. Aren't you doing that tonight?
No, tomorrow. We're not even talking about this. This is going to be fine by tomorrow, everybody. I'm on a steroid. Surely this is going to be fine by tomorrow and I'm going to be able to read. Everything's fine.
This is where I can tell you're an achiever. This is where the lawyer comes out. You didn't cancel on me for today.
Mm-mm.
See, other ones, they would have quit. They would have been like, too much. I'm going to bed. I'm not doing anything. I'm tired. I don't feel good. And you're like, no, we're going to get this done.
We are going to press on. And I drove over here and you and I don't live that close. And for those in Dallas, it'll already be over by the time this airs. But there's some scary driving going on the road with me right now because I only have one eye.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
But I'm just going a little slower. Everybody, it's fine.
Are you allowed to drive with one eye?
I don't know. Nobody's asking. Hey, but I did go to the DP.
Nobody's asking.
Nobody's
you got your
asking
sunglasses on. They can't tell.
I would yank that patch off.
You're a Christian celebrity sunglasses.
Yes, I went to the DP yesterday because my 16-year-old cannot help himself and he loses his license or his permit. Or we've been 4 times and he's only had his license since March. Everyone take that in for a minute. 4 times. Okay, so I had to go yesterday.
That's a lot.
Because once you get an appointment,
I don't think I've been 4 times in my life and I've moved states.
Okay. So once you get an appointment, you have to go, right? It takes like 2 months in Texas to get.
Yes.
So I'm like, we're going, eye patch and all. And so when we sat down, the person said, driver's license. And I was just answering for him because we're moms. That's what we do. I said, yeah. And he's like, you understand we're going to have to retake your picture, right? He was like, had this look of horror on my behalf. I was like, oh, actually, this is for my son, not me. And he had this like visible, like, whew, thank goodness.
Yeah, that would be a forever. Because it's like for a normal license, it's a 10-year gap between pictures. Okay, so
here we are. We're back.
We're back. And you were prepping.
Okay, so yes, everyone, if you listen this summer and you're still here, we'd like to give you a round of applause for that. And I want you to know.
Here's my sound effects.
We thank you. Our sound effects, we're just we're that high quality. Yes, I was telling my husband this morning, I'm like, hey, Heather and I are going to tape today. I've got to take a little time and go do some prep. And he was like, oh, you prep. And I was like, wait, what's that? Does it not sound like we prep? And he said, perhaps that's our art, is that it sounds like we haven't prepped. We're so good that our prep work comes off as we haven't prepped. And I'm like, no, I don't think that's it at all. Apparently it looks like you and I are winging a prayer.
A little bit.
Okay.
Slight, but I think we just have spontaneous thoughts that stem off of our core foundation. My goal today was to give an update on summer because I know when we recorded the summer mentorship, I was dreading it. I know I had a negative Nancy attitude.
About our
summer.
Taping together?
No, about summer.
Oh, okay.
I was not looking forward to it. I'd had some bummer summers the last few. I'd been trying to write books, launch books, and entertain my children and make memories and yada, yada. Wasn't looking forward to it. And it beat expectations. Now, when your expectations are in the garbage, it's not hard to beat them. But I thought we could give a little update.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then let's hear it. I mean, you just got back from Hawaii.
I made that happen despite probably not a great financial decision, but I'm thinking, will we regret it? No. But we did. I was really frugal. I even posted a little video like, you don't have to spend a lot of money when you're in a beautiful place to like entertain your children. Like just go outside. It's beautiful.
You like had a tent instead of a hotel room?
We had used points to get a condo. And so that's my tip. Get a good credit card that gives good points that gets you places to stay. And then we could eat breakfast and dinner there.
Oh, yeah.
And then when you go out for lunch, it's a lot cheaper than a dinner. I mean, it's still not cheap here in Hawaii. And there was a Costco by the airport. Boom. Massive amounts of food for children and snacks. Fill them up with snacks and soda.
I don't think anyone's ever put a boom after Costco.
Moms of 4 boys love a boom? The Costco.
That's boom worthy.
It's constant feeding.
I'm envisioning you out there. Like, I know kids, we're out here enjoying the ocean. If you happen to kill a fish, we'll fry that up tonight.
Fry it up. Totally. Found a crab. Let's eat it.
Okay.
Yeah. No, we were at the Costco and there were live chickens outside. And I was like, do they not know they're like rotisserie chickens are inside? I'd get far from here if I were you.
Right. So did you have any like, so overall great experience? So were there any meltdowns? Any like, because I feel like every time we go on vacation, there's like that one moment.
That's what I want to know from you. Yeah. And that's what I want to bring up to the moms. If y'all had any, and we should not call them vacations. We know at this point.
No, they're trips.
Family trips.
Yeah.
You are going as a family, but it is doing the same thing you do at home, just in a different location. And sometimes a little harder if you have real little kids. Like you're having to bring places for them to sleep, strollers, car seats. I was watching the other families. It's
especially if there's sand and you have to have a wagon with all the paraphernalia and a baby. No, thank you.
No, thank you. So the other thing I noticed though too is, I don't know about you, growing up, my dad was the planner of the trips.
Okay.
For you, who was it? Who planned out the details of like where you're going to go and the accommodations and all that kind
Apparently
of stuff?
Nobody, because I'm telling you, we stayed in some rough spots. I mean, Tom and Dorothy were great people, but we did take some vacations, but not like regularly. No. But when you do, I do feel like it was like not super planned, which is kind of how my family travels. So maybe I come by it honestly,
But your husband, does he have an expectation of who's in charge of planning out the days, planning out what you do?
No, nobody has any expectations. That's why we end up and we're like, on our way to Colorado and, in some small town at 2 a.m. and there's no hotels and someone's like, oh, you didn't make a reservation. I'm like, and looking at the kids, did anybody? So no.
So that's how y'all roll.
That's how we roll. Yeah.
So you went to Colorado this summer.
Yeah.
And it was just
we rented a house and that was it. Then
you knew about the house.
Mm-hmm.
You rented, can we say like where you rented the house, or is that secret information?
Oh, I don't think anybody cares, but yeah.
Like who stayed there right before you?
Oh, well, okay. Yeah. So we rented from a girl out of Dallas. Shout out to Chestnut Hill Cabins. I'm trying to remember.
Sponsored by
20% off Cynthia's next day. And so I guess they have several houses. I don't know who stayed in what, but Melanie Schenkel was staying with them the week before. And you and I love Melanie Schenkel and all of her writing.
So great.
Yeah, she's so great. So that was super fun. And my daughter was like, you should try to write while you're here. I mean, this is the presence of greatness because Melanie writes such incredible books. And I didn't write, but I did fall off a platform.
Wait, what?
I know, flat on my face. I know, you guys, I can't.
I haven't heard this story at all, so
we
I need
won't
to
go
know.
into it. We won't go into details other than to say it's. I think there's been pictures posted on my social by my daughter, but basically, I tripped over the lip of something and fell flat on my face. I don't think I've fallen. When's the last time you fell down?
Oh, probably a lot.
Okay.
I fall a lot.
Okay, I'm not a faller. And I literally fell flat on my face. Same side right now that's patched, by the way.
It wasn't patched at the time that you can't
No,
blame
it wasn't.
that. No.
Black eye. I mean,
wait, maybe that's why it responded that way. Is it the same eye?
Yes.
Oh, it was already injured.
My eye's like, no, thank you.
Your eyes are like, why do you hate me?
Bleeding legs. Oh, the whole thing. Yes. And my sweet parents saw it, and my parents they thought I was dead. I'm laying on the ground. It was a whole thing. But anyway, yes, we just got back from Colorado. We had a blast other than a few little incidents.
Did you have to go to an emergency room?
No, But a few years before that, it's Breckenridge. Like everything goes south in Breckenridge. You can look on my social. I'm not going to go into all this, you guys, I promise. But my husband had a massive bike accident in Breckenridge a couple of years ago, the last time we were there. And I somehow got the entire bike wreck on video in slow motion. And it was on my social, and everyone's like, oh my gosh. I mean, he was going off a jump, which, why are we going off jumps?
How old are we?
Oh, we're at 48-ish, and flipping in the air and flying anyway. So bad things happen in Breckenridge, but we're back and we're fine.
I mean, it's literally called Breck, which is close to break. So maybe avoid that next time.
Okay, back to Hawaii. So did you freak out?
So here's the story. I was thrilled to get everybody together. We have not done a just our family trip in a long time. And we go to family camp every summer. This was the first summer we had not. So I really wanted to make the most of it. And I think what happens, my personality, I set really high expectations. Mm-hmm. Are you a high expectations person or not?
Yeah, especially if money's involved. I've spent a lot of money on it.
Okay. Well, mine is just I want to make really good memories. I want everyone to connect. Mm-hmm. I want everyone to be like having the best time. So I was feeling the overwhelm of I need to make sure I plan out good days. I don't, no one's starving at any point. Like I've already mentioned the food, but also just like
Costco, boom.
Boom. But also researching what are some economical things we can do that the boys would still like. Well, they were getting tired, okay? By the end of the trip, 2 of them had been out of the country the other direction. So one is dealing with a 12-hour jet lag, 7 hours from Europe, 5 hours to Hawaii. So I get it. They're exhausted, right? And we're doing a lot. You're out in the sun and you're snorkeling. It's fun. It's all good things, but they're kind of tired. They kind of didn't want to go to the beach that day. And
they're hungry because all they've had is a granola bar from Costco. And
so
a hotel
snacks.
waffle. So yeah.
No hotel waffles. This is just like we're on our own.
Okay.
So I looked up, there's a really cool ocean center. And I remember going when I was little to Maui and learning about whales and thinking this was such a cool part of my Hawaiian experience because whales are a big thing there in the winter, but not in the summer.
Okay.
So I thought, we could go. They could learn about whales, just be like chill, just kind of looking at fish. And I'll just say it did not meet expectations. And my boys did not enjoy the experience. I was like, it's not terrible, but definitely for the cost that they charged. We've been to way better aquariums. I mean, we have a really nice one here in Dallas. Even our Fair Park one has an interactive stingray thing.
Okay.
So that's how the day started. Then
Okay.
we went back to a restaurant we'd already gone to for lunch that the boys liked. And they were like, can we just go see a movie?
Oh,
Yes.
interesting.
It's afternoon. It's beautiful, but we're going to go to a movie. Barbie. They chose Barbie.
4 boys.
And a husband.
And they, okay.
Margot Robbie is real cute. She's real cute.
Well, she is. She's
the
darling.
pull.
She's Barbie.
She's the pull. So we go. I think it's great.
She's the what?
The pull for them to go.
Oh.
The pull. Yeah.
I said the pole, and I'm like, what are we talking about?
Pull. Like why they would want to do that.
Okay, yeah.
So then
Boom.
I thought it was a great movie. I'm like, if you've seen it, can we talk about it?
I've seen it.
You have no thoughts? Thoughts. Okay. So the boys.
No, I have thoughts, yeah.
The boys left and they did not appreciate how men were represented in the movie, which I totally get.
Agreed, yeah.
Yeah. And I said, I agree with you. There was not one, there might have been a kind guy or someone in a high position, but there wasn't anyone who was smart.
Yeah, smart, strong, yeah, whatever.
Yeah. And
Role
so
modeling.
I said, actually, and I quoted Nancy Percy, who's a researcher. She's like in her 70s, and she's done research recently on kind of the role of evangelical men who actually are involved in church and who actually have faith in families, and how it actually is a help to our communities, and it's a good thing. Kind of to go back to these men of faith who are strong men for other reasons than this toxic masculinity view.
Yeah.
Yada, yada. I said, and in their mind, in my boys' mind, they've seen my husband, strong, faith, grace, truth. They've seen their grandfathers. That's what they see. And then they didn't see it in the Barbie movie. So they were obviously disappointed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, you have to understand, for a girl, this really represented a lot of their feelings. And I loved Barbies. I still have 20 Barbies upstairs. So I loved it. But you combine.
I'm sorry. Can we put in that noise right there? I'm rewinding. You have Barbies upstairs?
Totally.
Huh,
A big bin of Barbies.
Okay.
I haven't pulled them out because I have all boys. But I'm thinking I'm going to pull them out and do a little video,
I hope
feel
I'm
like
here
people-
for that. Okay, keep going.
So yada yada. I'm already upset about the morning, feeling like a failure, and that I not only spent money we didn't need to spend. It wasn't a big hit. I'm feeling a little discouraged about the Barbie movie because I didn't see it with a bunch of girlfriends who also had fun. It was like,
Yeah.
the night ended with like dinner back at the condo and everybody just kind of going to their corners on their screens. And I was like, we only have one more day left. And there were a lot of things I was hoping to do before we left. And so I just start crying in the kitchen, crying, saying all the things. Bruce is standing there. My youngest empathizes with me. He starts crying. He starts,
Now
feeling
that's
all the
sweet.
feelings.
I'm over
So
here
sweet.
laughing already about it, and he's so sweet. Okay.
So sweet.
He's crying. Okay.
So sweet. Comforting me. I'm so sorry, Mom.
Handing you like the Costco pub mix.
Totally.
Okay.
And then Bruce goes to bed and no words are spoken.
Uh-oh.
And I was like, okay, well, that wasn't the expectation I had. So the next morning when I, get up, because you get up real early when you're over in Hawaii because your body is used to a different time. And he said, hey, you want to go on a walk, which is usually our Saturday morning routine.
Right.
I'm like, fine. Go on a walk. Fine. I'm not real warm, okay?
Yeah, you're done.
But we hadn't gone on a walk on that vacation. So we go on the walk. Nothing said. I'm not talking.
Oh.
He's not talking. We're just walking.
We've had those, yeah.
Finally he goes, so you had a lot of feelings last night. Which to me is the understatement of the year.
Totally.
Like, that's what you took away from that? That I have a lot of feelings?
He was being polite. He
He
wanted
was
to be
being
like,
kind. He was like, how do I handle this situation?
like that was a freak show.
That
but I'm
you were
not-
a little bit
yeah.
freaking out, and you have a lot of feelings. But thankfully, it did lead to a productive conversation.
Oh, good.
I explained I was grieving. I had my expectations, and then the reality was falling short. And I felt the weight of being fully responsible for the trip, which I think other moms can relate to. Like
Yes.
the pressure of it's all on me.
Yes. Yes. 100% yes. And here's the thing. Here's how you know that you're not alone in this. Because if you've spent any time in Disney,
Right.
nobody acts more like a maniac. Like they need to be doing time somewhere, like a federal prison, than parents at Disney, myself included. Any given time, you get on that shuttle after the fireworks and the kids are melting down and you can't get that stroller folded up right. And you hear parents say things that you're like,
Yeah.
how did the state let you have children? How did
But
God
it's like,
allow this?
and it's again, like you said, it's the cost. It's the
Yes, it's the financial investment when weighed against the fun factor. And I do need to go back in your story. Let's just get back to the fact you were quoting like research to your boys after this. Like I love that about you. That's why you and I work, Heather, because I quote Seinfeld to mine. I'm like, hey, don't wear that. It looks like a puffy shirt. Like, you know what I mean? Like, or like if they do something that's kind of rude, I'm like, no soup for you. Like I literally parent in Seinfeld tidbits, and you're like, you've got some researcher stuff on the tip of your tongue. I feel like that even offset that Costco boom. Like the fact that you did that. That's impressive.
Thank you. I
Way to
appreciate
parent.
that.
Way to
I appreciate
parent.
that. Well, you know, but I do think it was a wake up call to me to recognize where I am sabotaging the joy. Like even after my meltdown, I was like, we haven't even played one game as a family together. Why does nobody want to be together? And Bruce was like, should I go get the boys and bring them downstairs? I'm like, no. I'm like, yes. And then I was like, no.
They should want to do it.
I said, if I force it, it's going to be miserable. And so.
And it would. Yeah.
And it would be. But like, what were your stresses on vacation besides all of your falls and disasters?
Well, yeah, like I'm a fall risk now, okay, Heather? Like I'm one step out of the home.
Yeah.
So that's a whole different, I've got other considerations right now, okay? Rather than board games, I'm like, I wonder if they do board games in the home my kids are about to put me in. So I'm in a different plane than you are. But all things considered, you and I actually talked several times while we were gone a long time because we had a baseball tournament before that.
Yeah.
And so it's just, oh gosh, I think we talked about this before, Heather. I can't get it in my mind that 5 people don't fit in one hotel room. Okay, so
we don't even have the option. They won't even let us.
Yeah, because we adopted a little one, and so that was kind of
you have a little,
on.
like one of yours is small.
Yeah,
you could hide them behind a suitcase, and someone wouldn't notice that you have 5. Because I think the legal is 4, right?
Oh, I don't know. I'm sure we're a fire hazard. That's the least of their worries. Okay, so that's the one stressor, and I will say this hotel we're in. This is the 3rd hotel I've stayed in 6 months where the fire alarm has gone off and woken us up, and we've had to evacuate the building. And my kids, I'm like, what are the odds? And my kids are like, they're pretty high because of the places we stay in. And I was like, oh, okay. So we were in the Drury Inn in the Albuquerque, New Mexico, and it was dreary. I think it's the Drury Inn, but we had a long stop there. And so that was, we're already kind of testy. And then you go to Colorado and it's beautiful and cool. And all of that was great. I would say the stressors for me are, I do put expectation behind it. Like if we're financially invested in this, I'm like, we're all going to have fun. Breathe it in. Turn off your phones. All that.
The turn off your phone.
The turn off your phones. Why are you looking at? There's a little bit of that. Yeah. But then here's the one, you guys, that gets me. It's the pictures. Like I obsess over like, we got to get a great family picture. Now I'm never going to go back and look at these pictures because
you might.
I mean, maybe when I'm in the home
I feel like
next
one
week,
of our roles too is to be the historian.
Okay, well, yeah, and it literally looks like I died 10 years ago when you look through the camera rolls because I'm not in any of them. None of us are, right?
That's right.
And so I'm in none of them. So it looks like I don't even show up at my kids' birthday parties. People are like, oh, deadbeat mom, this is horrid. So we go to get our picture one night and
like have someone else take it?
No, sometimes we do that. But this time, no, we just had some friends that were in town and they came with us. And I mean, I'm just talking an iPhone pic. That's all I'm looking for.
Like to maybe be a Christmas card, or are you thinking just to share on the socials?
I don't know.
Just to capture this
I
moment in time.
wanted to capture the moment in time. And if we got lucky, then yes, we could have a Christmas card or something. And like the teenage boy wears too tight of pants and all the chains are out. See back to summer mentorship on that, right?
Yes.
Sight back to that.
Yes.
And then the little one, he's in that weird smile phase. The weird smile phase, moms. You know that one. And you're like, what's that?
My brother was in that phase when my sister got married because we have the age difference too. Mm-hmm. He was, I think, 3 when she got married. And so he was making that face. And
it's horrible.
It's her wedding pictures.
He's stuck with it for life.
And so the poor photographer is like trying to take them. Yes, that is a face.
So anyway, those are a few of the things. Just trying to get the pictures done. And then, then I'm like, literally like, everyone smile. I don't ask for much. The least you could do is just take a stinking, and then you like, click, and everyone's
miserable.
Miserable. But you know what? I think there's a couple of cute ones. I don't know. Have I looked at them? But I've heard there's a cute one. I think my daughter posted one on my social. I don't post that stuff. But I will say this, like, it's just a reminder. We all know this, but the picture doesn't tell the story, right? Like you see the picture, like, oh, they're all dressed cute and they're in Colorado and they're having the best time. I have makeup on like nothing you've ever seen. I look like a Muppet. it.
Because of your black eye?
Because I have a black eye. So I have this thick, cakey skin. I mean, all the
Yeah.
things. I'm like, the picture doesn't tell the story.
It does not tell the story. And I'm sure that, I mean, one of my guests, Allie Worthington, was just talking about how you should mute, you know, social media accounts that make you feel bad, because it is actually their business model. I mean, you can't be mad at them. It's their business model. But if you can control what you consume, it's free content. And I was thinking that came out right as I'm releasing like that I'm in Hawaii, and I thought people are going to be muting me, but little did they know, like there's always a backstory.
There's always a backstory. Heather cried in Hawaii and freaked out and had big emotions. Is that what we're saying?
A lot of feelings.
A lot of feelings.
I had a lot of feelings.
And I had similar issues. So there you are. That's a good summer recap.
Yeah. Yeah. I think one last thing is holding on to past, you know, how I said that we didn't go to family camp. Right. And
is that the Colorado thing? Or
no, it's in Pine Cove. And
gotcha,
we've done it for, you know, since my youngest was a wee baby. But now it was like my olders, they wouldn't have any guys their age that were going anymore. There were lots of girls their age going, of the people we know.
You've aged out kind of.
For our family, and they all were ready to be done. I was not ready.
Sponsored by Pine Cove.
I was not ready to be done. I cried the last day last summer.
Yeah.
I was not ready to let it go. And Bruce was ready. The big boys were ready. Well, fast forward to this summer, very last minute, my oldest son got invited to go to Poland to serve Ukrainian refugees. And it fell right when we would have been at Pine Cove.
Okay, yeah.
And all of our friends were so kind and helped sponsor the trip, and it was totally paid for by them, which is, you can't make that stuff up. That's amazing. And then my other son went with his grandparents last minute to Bulgaria, which you can't make that stuff up. So they would have had to say no to those things.
And go to Tyler.
To do something they'd always done with. Anyway, it just reminded me, I wrote a book about it called Right Where You Belong. Occupy your space. Recognize where you are and just embrace the new season. It's not going to, not to keep reliving old memories.
Yeah.
Like your daughter, college age. It's new now. You have a different relationship with her moving forward. Yeah.
Totally. I think that's good. And I think it is so easy to go. I think that's what kind of gets me in pictures too, to bring it back to pictures. Like when I go back and look at them, some people celebrate them and they're like, oh, these baby pictures. Me, I almost get a little sad because my tendency is to be like, oh, were those the good days? Or we're never going back to that. But then the further along I get, like, these are the good days too. And the next season are going to be the good days. And so, but I get what you're saying about the camp. I get that. I mean, kind of, I would rather go to Hawaii than the camp, but I'm trying to walk this road with you, Heather.
Well, it's more just, it's a growing up of your family in the whole of it, and being okay with that, and realizing that doesn't mean just because you're ending something doesn't mean you aren't also starting something exciting or being opened up to new experiences.
Speaking of starting something exciting,
new.
Before we get to that, can I say one thing? Can I give an update on my tap back trauma? I'm going to go back real quick, if we might. Everyone who's here, can we go back and talk about the summer of mentorship?
Episode 1.
I don't know that anybody felt mentored when we were done, but apparently we had lots of fun.
Yeah.
And I mean, we had unbelievable response. And I mean, like at least 2 or 3 texts from people saying how great it was. No, I'm kidding. We had more than that.
It was amazing to hear from y'all.
No, we really did. We heard from so many of y'all that really loved it. And so thank you for that. We were shocked as anybody. But I think of all the things we talked about. I mean, yes, there was some hearty, meaty topics, but of just the shallow, I think tap back trauma got the most response, or at least on my side. Also the baby pictures that did.
Well, and one person that I thought was relating to my view on it, and they were actually relating to your tap back trauma. So what's your update?
So my update is this, everyone, checking in on tap back trauma.
I'm trying to do better.
She's doing so much better. And let me tell you, she's actually responding to things. Now there might be like a heart and then a response, which that's
totally
growth. Fine. Totally fine.
Growth.
But I will tell you, I called you, Heather, if you recall. And I guess, did I not leave a message? I can't remember now.
You did not leave a message.
Okay. And so then you texted me and said, oh my gosh, you called and didn't leave a message. I hope this wasn't your one call from jail. And I didn't answer, and I started laughing, but I was like, no way am I spending my one text or my one call on Heather. No, I gotta go to someone that's not gonna be like, oh, you're in jail, heart.
No, I mean, I'm not good at answering the phone because I don't have my ringer on.
Oh, I don't keep mine on either. So anyway, I just wanted to report
Don't
back.
call me if you're in prison.
Listen, if you're
No one.
Does anybody listening get the irony of Don't Mom Alone? It's like, don't call me. My ringer won't be on. I might just, I feel like I've had to call out some of this farce.
Yeah, it's good. It's healthy. I do feel like I've grown. I've
No,
realized
you've done great. She's done great.
I'm growing in that. But I also think we have learned and are wanted to announce, as you were 30 minutes into the episode, that we were going to do a 15-minute episode.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to do more of these.
We are.
First Friday of the month. Mark your calendars. These will release.
On Don't Mom Alone.
On Don't Mom Alone.
Yeah, right here. So you don't have to go anywhere.
You don't have to go anywhere. And TBD, that's the letter I was looking for, on what we call ourselves still. We asked y'all for names, and we have brainstormed so many names. We should go through some of them.
We had y'all had some pretty funny responses. I can't remember them now. And then we had some really bad ideas. And I think the worst of the ideas when Heather's like, let's call it That's What She Said. I'm like, you can't call it that. What's going on? No.
One of them I liked was, wait, what?
Wait, what? Yeah. Like, what just happened? What did you just say?
Or how in Moms in Conversations we get distracted, and so I wanted to call it, what were we talking about?
Yeah. What'd you ask me anyway? Have you ever been on an interview literally where you do that? I have, where I'm like 45 seconds into an answer. Then
what was your question?
What was your
question?
What was your question?
Oh, that's what we're going to call it.
What was your question?
What was your question?
See, you guys, this is why you listen to us, because like you're literally getting live brainstorming.
Brainstorm.
Yes, I'm so excited. And I just want to say, in all seriousness, Heather has been...
Yeah.
You've been, I don't know why I'm talking as if you're not in the room. It must be my eye
fine.
patch.
I'll just go. Yeah,
I can't really
go get you a snack or
can't
something.
really see you if I look out of one eye. You have been so fun to work with. It's fun to have a friend, but then you actually work together and you're like, oh my gosh, this is fun. Yeah. And you're so generous and sweet and kind with your time and your platform. And you have been so good to even point back to my new podcast. Yes. Like so many people have come and listened and followed because of you. And so I just want to say that, like, of all the joking and laughing we do, like, you are a cheerleader, and not just for me. I see you do it with so many people so well. But I read somewhere on someone's page, it wasn't yours. It was too profound for yours. But somewhere I heard someone saying something to the effect of like, it's one thing to cheerlead a person that's always going to, like, you know, be in a status under you, but when you can cheerlead a person that could take your job, that's cheerleading someone. And I just want you to know that I'm probably, a breath away from taking your job. And no, I'm kidding. No, but really, the way you have cheerleaded and allowed me to be a part of this with you, and it's been fun. And now you're going to continue on. Like, anyway.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Hey, all you have to do is get my son in college with your college essay tutoring. This is only what all I require of you. And if you do that,
I'm pretty good at college essays, everyone. Just FYI. Okay?
I don't know if you want to put that out there.
It's not going to be the California scandal, like where I'm going to get your kid on the rowing team and they don't row. But I can read a good college essay and be like, let's work on that.
All right. I'm putting that in the show notes link. Oh, we didn't talk about our businesses that we launched this summer.
Well, maybe we'll save that for our first release in September. Will that keep people coming back?
Yeah, come back, y'all. We've got big announcements. Okay, hopefully you all can relate to some of the things that Cynthia and I shared, and maybe it made you think a little bit about your own mom journey, what expectations you hold, what conversations you can have as a family about who manages what, and to really get in touch with your feelings. Like it was super helpful when Bruce said, so you had a lot of feelings, and we have the language to talk through what was going on in me. Why was I having a hard time? That really proved helpful even as we processed coming home from Hawaii and seeing the news about a place we had just been days before, totally devastated. And I was feeling the heaviness of it. I didn't realize Bruce was as well. And we went on our date night. We were just talking through it, just a grief and a loss. And I think even our boys, there's a connectedness to a place. Even like I said in this episode, I actually lived in Maui for a month when I was in elementary school with my family. And so that is one of the reasons I felt such a strong pull to have my boys visited. It's beyond just, I went there for my honeymoon. It holds a lot of really good memories for me. It reminded me of the value of proximity and really knowing something. So when you see news about it, or people have all sorts of opinions about things, that you actually have some experience, how much that matters. Also, I recognized I had a little anxiety that attached to it, realizing how each of your decisions, they matter because we've debated on what days we were going to go, what weeks we were going to go. And anyway, just the sovereignty of God. And I know sovereignty is a tricky conversation when there is suffering. How does he allow it? How is it possible that something like this would happen? And man, y'all, whenever fear tries to attach, and go back to Sissy's episode if you haven't listened to it, The Worry-Free Parent, getting back to truth, centering what is true right now. And really, truly what it's led me to is being led by the Spirit in decisions when it comes to our family, and just not necessarily doing what everybody else is doing or judging what other people are doing. I'd really love to continue to foster this judge-free parenting community where we can make different choices when it comes to schooling and how our families run, and even career choices, like that we could trust that each family is doing the best that they can do, and that you lean into your own journey, like I write about, and right where you belong. Like, lean in with God, follow his lead on your path with him. I heard a sermon last Sunday from one of my favorite Bible teachers, Abe Kuravila. He used to be a professor at Dallas Theological Seminary. Now he's moved. He was teaching on Psalm 19, and it was interesting. Like, I'd never heard someone teach on this, but half of the first part of the psalm is about celestial things, the sun, and how the heavens speak, how they pour forth, they proclaim, they utter, but they have no voice. And he was saying they're basically talking about God without any sound, and how they do this all day, all night, for all eternity, all of time, and to the end of the earth, all of the universe. So time and space is filled with this physical representation of God's order and glorifying him over and over and over again. And then the psalm goes into God's laws and God's commandments and testimony and precepts. And the comparison is, just like those heavenly bodies communicate about God, God has communicated to us on how to live through his precepts and his commands. And it's by being guided by those that we testify to God's goodness and we live good lives. It's like, if we are like the sun, and the sun follows its orbit and its path, and we have a guide and we have a prescription by God, he is giving us guidelines on how to live, and even uniquely through the Spirit, following Jesus, guidelines to live. And it is through following that path that we find true happiness, and even in the midst of hard, because we know we are walking with God. I don't know if this is making sense, but I loved the analogy of the sun following its orbit and me following the word of God and the orbit that I'm on with God. Anyway, I found comfort in it, and I hope that is comforting to you. I'm going to say a quick prayer for us. Lord, I thank you for our summers. I thank you for the seasons. I thank you for the change in pace. I also thank you for ways we were surprised that maybe our reality didn't meet expectations. Maybe it fell short. Maybe things were better than we expected. But Lord, I thank you that we can take those expectations and we can communicate them honestly to you, that you can handle all of that. We thank you that you have given us a plan and a way to live. And I pray, Lord, that we would be in your word, that we would read your words, your living word that directs us when we're trying to make decisions, and that we would lean into the Holy Spirit and the words that your Spirit will bring to mind to guide us when we're making decisions this coming year. And I pray, Lord, we would trust your sovereignty in all of the paths that we're going on, that fear would not get a foothold in the unknowns and tragedies around us, suffering in our own lives or in the ones we love. I pray, Lord, that we would cling to you most, because you are the one who brings healing, hope, and care in our lives and in our kids' lives. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, y'all, thanks for joining me. I will be back here on Monday. Just a few more days. You don't have to wait that long. I'll be back here on Monday with our first full episode in our tech series. I hope that you join me. Adios.